Welcome into America's Retirement Headquarters, home of the Retirement Guys Formula and America's Medicare Associates. Securities offered through Peak Brokerage Services, LLC. Advisory services offered through the Retirement Guys Formula, registered investment advisor. America's Retirement Headquarters, America's Medicare Associates, and the Retirement Guys Formula are separate and independent entities from Peak Brokerage Services, LLC. Welcome back to America's Retirement Headquarters, home of the Retirement Guys Formula, Retirement Tax Partners, and America's Medicare Associates with Nolan Baker. 419-794-3030 is the phone number. It's 419-794-3030. You can also go online, arhq.com. Previous editions of America's Retirement Headquarters available for you to check out at your leisure. Just go to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you consume your podcast, the podcatcher of your choice. There for you to check out, again, at your leisure. Now, the Federal Reserve has signaled that it anticipates 2 interest rate cuts by the end of the year. Here we are in the back half of the year. And economist Mohamed El-Arian tells CNBC he doesn't see any coming in the next few months.
The fundamental problem we have is we don't know what inflation is going to be. So this inflation uncertainty has to be resolved before you can be totally relaxed about how many cuts are we going to get. We're going to get cuts. The question is how many. If I was Jay Powell, I would be cutting, but I would be cutting at a steady, slow pace. I worry that he's going to be proven late, but let's see.
Now, with all the continued uncertainty around rate cuts, Nolan, how do you guys help clients decide when or if it's time to lock in rates on something like an annuity?
Well, here's a question that could cost you thousands of dollars over the course of your retirement. And that question is should you buy an annuity now? Should you wait another 6 months or a year? Or, maybe wait till you're retired? Or are annuities just a 4-letter word? And really what happens is we're living through one of the most dramatic interest rate environments in decades. Here we have interest rates at the highest point they've been really since my children have been born. I have a 22-year-old and an 18-year-old. My 22-year-old is in the process right now of getting his first house, and he's, completely shocked at where mortgage rates are at, right? Because he's used to hearing mom and dad talk about having 2.5% mortgage rates, and now they're 7.5%. So higher interest rates may be negative for somebody who's looking to take on debt, like my son who's getting a mortgage. But, for those of you that are savers and you're looking to save either for now and or in the future, making sure that you're taking advantage of this interest rate environment can really be an optimal time. Here it is in the middle of 2025. If I go back about a year ago, interest rates were a little bit higher about a year ago. The Federal Reserve has indicated their plan is to lower interest rates in the future. So this really still may be an ideal time. Again, dependent upon what your opinion is of annuities, what I want you to do is I want you to get educated about it, because if you're considering an annuity for income, the difference between buying now versus waiting till interest rates go down literally could mean the difference between 10 or 20% and more guaranteed income in retirement time. And the problem is most people have no idea that annuities are basically interest rate products in disguise. And so when interest rates move, everything changes. Your potential return, the amount of income that they guarantee, even how much you could lose if you cashed out early because of something called market value adjustment. So really in this segment, what I want to do is I want to walk you through exactly what type of annuities are impacted when interest rates change, because in this rate environment, timing isn't just important. I think it's really everything with where we're at right now in the interest rate cycle. Interest rates have a direct and significant impact on annuities, specifically when you're talking a fixed annuity, also sometimes referred to as a multi-year guaranteed annuity, and it also has an impact on fixed indexed annuities. The income guarantees offered by many of these products change based upon where interest rates are. And here's how interest rates really impact the annuities broken down by the different types and what the features are. So first you have a fixed annuity. And again, I'd refer to a fixed annuity also as something called a multi-year guaranteed annuity. With a multi-year guaranteed annuity or a fixed annuity, you can lock in an interest rate for 1 year. You can lock in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. Those are the typical terms that you would see with being able to lock in interest rates. And so when interest rates go up, like what we have seen happen, insurance companies have the ability to offer you a higher credited interest rate on the new fixed investment accounts that come out. So you get better guaranteed yields on your money. Insurance products are backed by the full faith and credit of the insurance company that you work with. So you really want to understand, what is the rating of the insurance company? I would say when you're comparing products, they're most similar to like CDs, where you buy a CD for a 6-month, 1 year, 3 year, 5 year time frame. You get a fixed rate of return for that set time frame. At the end of that time frame, you can renew it at whatever the rates are there. You could take and move it somewhere else. The difference is, again, these are insurance products, so they're not FDIC insured. So payouts from immediate annuities, if you're, in retirement time and your desire is to have immediate income, or, if you're, say, 5 or 10 years out, those people that are 5 years or 10 years out from retirement time, having reliable income is extremely important to them as well. These income payout ratios oftentimes rise because when interest rates are higher, the insurance company has more money in the reserves that they have. I had met with a gentleman last week. We were talking a little bit about building out a bucket of money designed for healthcare. And, he had a real concern about deploying money into a bucket because he didn't feel comfortable to know that he had enough money to last forever. Looking from the outside in, I could see that, he has enough money, but I can also appreciate the fact that he just recently retired. So he went from, getting a normal paycheck by getting up and going to work every day. And, looking at his pile of money, he said, well, how would I get comfortable? And that's figuring out how to have more reliable income. So getting a system in place that has those regular paychecks that come in for a set period of time and or for the rest of his lifetime. Those are things like immediate deferred annuities can provide as well. Those are additional benefits. When interest rates go down, so like the Federal Reserve is talking about lowering interest rates, if that happens, new contracts are going to traditionally offer lower rates, reducing those income payouts. It's going to reduce your growth potential that you have. You're going to lock in maybe a lower rate. The existing contract, though, so for those people who have locked in rates at where they're at today, those rates are going to remain guaranteed for the length of time based upon how their product that they set up. So if you bought, a 5-year contract and you got an interest rate, even if interest rates go down in a year from now, the insurance company is still contractually obligated to pay you that interest that you agreed upon, even if new contracts get lower rates as well. So again, you want to know about the length of term of what your contract is, and take into consideration how long you'd like to lock in that money. There's a lot of people that like to have their money very liquid, and no doubt about it, there is value into having liquidity, whether you're working or whether you're retired. But there's also a cost of liquidity. The best example that I could give of cost of liquidity is, if you keep all of your money in a money market account, and money market rates are great today, but, as interest rates go down, those money market account rates will go down just when interest rates go down. Where if you had a product that's locked in for a longer period of time, now you have peace of mind that even if interest rates go down, you've locked it in. I've had folks that we've met in with recently that said, hey, can I lock in this rate for the next 10 years? I just don't even want to think about it. And I just want to live off of the interest because of where the rates are at today. I want to lock in my rate for a longer period of time. So in 3 years from now, I don't have to worry about where rates are. The other financial product that is impacted by interest rates are what are oftentimes referred to as called fixed indexed annuity. So a fixed index annuity is a type of an account that allows you to participate in either a percentage or a maximum amount of growth of an underlying performance of an index. So, again, if the S&P 500 index, it allows you to participate when that index goes up. It usually has a floor of 0, meaning that if the index goes down, you're protected. But those type of products also allow you to have higher potential when interest rates are up. So what you can get is you can get a higher cap rate. Think of a cap as the maximum amount. If I go back a couple of years ago and I look at where cap rates are, you might have a product that it would be common that the maximum that you could make on any given year would have been 4%. There's products today that, may allow you to get 7 or 8% is what the cap is. So you've seen cap rates go up as interest rates go up. Participation rate. A participation rate means what is the percentage that you get of the good? 5 years ago, you might be able to get 25% of the good. So if that underlying index went up 10%, 25% of that is 2.5%. You could see a participation rate today that would be, 40 or 50%. So if the market went up 10, you could get 4 to 5% on a participation rate. So, the higher is going to allow for more growth potential. Insurance companies can offer more favorable terms, again, due to better bond returns on their end as well. And so when interest rates fall in the future, you can have the offers get lower from the insurance companies. They can lower the cap rates. They could lower the participation rate. Some insurance companies offer upfront bonuses when you open up an account. Those can also go down or be reduced based upon where rates go in the future as well. When you look at immediate annuities, you look at annuities that offer what's called income riders. Higher interest rates mean higher payouts, period. So these products are really priced using current interest rates and life expectancy. And as rates go up, insurance companies can afford to offer larger monthly income payouts for the same premium. Lower interest rates equal lower income. Lifetime income payments can also shrink when rates go down and rates are lower. And that's because income riders in a deferred status often grow slower when the general interest rate environment is weak. The fourth category, which is kind of a hidden category within annuities, is called market value adjustment. A lot of annuities have something called market value adjustment, and it can impact what is called the surrender value of your contract. Always want to pay attention to what your contract details are. Surrender charges refer to penalties if you take out more than what is the free withdrawal amount available from your contract. And what a market value adjustment does is, based upon where interest rates are, can impact what that surrender value is. Some fixed index annuities have that feature, other ones don't. It's going to, again, impact your contract if you surrender it before your contract term, you surrender it early. If interest rates have risen since purchase, the market value adjustment could ultimately reduce the surrender value. So interest rates up, market value adjustment bad. On the opposite, if rates have fallen, you could receive more than expected upon surrender. So again, interest rates go down, market value adjustment may be a positive thing for you as well. Again, know that your contract and know what the parameters are of your contract so you have a full understanding of them. But again, the basics here are as interest rates go up, that's a positive for things that are in the fixed investment world like annuities. When interest rates go down, that can be a negative. There is the invisible hand. Obviously, you don't have control of what happens with interest rates here. Right now, we're in a unique environment where we've seen great interest rates. They still have relatively not changed a whole lot in the last year. The Federal Reserve is talking about lowering interest rates. So if you're considering a fixed or a fixed index annuity, or maybe you're looking for more guaranteed income, keep in mind that this is based upon the claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. But I think your window of time right now is one of the best times that we've seen in years. Timing the market's tough, right? Timing when to purchase annuity can also be tough. So my advice to you is the current environment, if it meets what your needs and your goals are, if you're looking to maybe lower some of your risk tolerance, if you're looking to maybe take some money out of those risky assets while we're in a good environment, before something bad happens, find out about what your choices are. Focus on finding a product that is, reasonable or has no fees. in terms that make sense for what you're trying to do in your specific situation. And, I get that this is a confusing topic, so hopefully we'll walk you through a little bit of a different approach. If you have an old annuity, if your annuity is 5 years or older, can also be worth having a second set of eyes to review to find out if you have the ability to look at some upgrades on what you're doing today as well.
Conversation worth having with the team at America's Retirement Headquarters. So reach out, set up a time, arhq.com, or call 419-794-3030. We've said many times here on the show, and I think retirees can relate to the number one fear among retirees and pre-retirees, running out of money. Inflation and medical costs certainly play a role in that, but when JP Morgan studied the spending patterns of 5 million retirees, they found that some of these concerns might actually be overblown, and they may not need as much savings as they believe to retire comfortably. So, Nolan, I have to ask, what do you think of these, and is there anything that you can add?
Picture this. You're 78 years old. You're sitting at your kitchen table, staring at your bank statement, showing that you have only $847 left in your checking account. Your Social Security barely covers the mortgage and your living expenses. Your 401k is basically gone at this point, and you just got another $3,200 medical bill in the mail. It sounds terrifying, and it should, because this is the reality with millions of Americans right now, of that fear of outliving their money. But the brutal truth is lots of retirees are going to run out of money before they die. And not having less money than they'd like to, literally, legitimately kind of running out of money. And it's not because they were reckless spenders or made terrible investments. Most people did everything that they really possibly could do. They saved in their 401ks. They were frugal. They planned ahead. And so what went wrong? And more importantly, how do you absolutely make sure that this never happens to you? In this segment, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the 5 strategies that separate retirees who thrive from those who barely survive. And because retirement isn't really about having the most amount of money, it's about having the right plan in place. And, by the end of this segment, you'll have exactly that. For retirees, again, that biggest fear isn't the stock market. It's the fear of running out of money. And really, it's a valid concern. People are living longer, costs are rising, and the rules around taxes and Social Security are constantly changing. Here's the good news is if you focus on what you can control, you can make a much more informed decision, and then don't dwell upon things that you have little to no control over. So here's how to fight the fear with smart planning. Number one, what I want you to do is I want you to build a reliable income floor. So if you're just moving into retirement time, before you flash forward and think of that 20, 25 year later conversation that I just mentioned to you, build that reliable floor and cover your essential expenses with things that provide predictable and or guaranteed income sources. That could be Social Security, making the right decision on when to draw Social Security. That's why I believe it's so important to try to not take Social Security early and take that lifetime penalty, because that larger benefit can be great for providing that floor over the course of your lifetime. And if you're married, the course of both of your lifetimes with those survivor benefits. If you're blessed enough to still have an opportunity for a pension, making the correct selection on a pension. It may be tempting to take that lump sum of money and just, put it in an IRA or cash it out and pay the taxes and put it in your bank account because you see that a big lump sum. But, there could be better options on taking a monthly payout. And again, if you're married, taking some type of survivorship option, because my initial assumption is that the income is going to be important for both of your lifetimes. And then if you have a gap in what that essential income is making sure that you fill up that gap with predictable income. So where can you get predictable income? Dividends would be a good example. Whether the market goes up or down 200 points today or tomorrow usually doesn't impact the dividends. Interest income, you can get interest income on bonds. So looking at what the yield is and driving up the predictable income on your stocks and bonds can be one way to do that. You can get predictable income from fixed investments like CDs. You can get predictable income from insurance products like annuities. You could get a fixed rate for a set period of time, or you could have income that could be paid out for the rest of your lifetime. I like the idea here when you're looking at essential income of making sure that you have income for life. And if you're married, thinking about the income for both of your lifetimes. This is going to give you the peace of mind knowing that your needs are always going to be met regardless of what the market performance is. Again, you or I can't control what the market does, so having that floor in place is good. Number two, what I want you to do is I want you to segment your money into purpose-driven buckets. So for the short term and or what I would call a backup plan, that's money for 1 to 3 years. You want to have 1 to 3 years worth of money that you have, and these should be, cash. They should be liquid investments. They should be investments that are not subject to market level risk. And that way you can start living off of some of that. Or if you're living off of your stock market investments and the market temporarily goes down, you switch over to that short-term bucket of money, not being forced to sell off your equity investments in retirement time while the market's temporarily down. Then you want to have a midterm bucket of money, and what I would oftentimes refer to as a pay raise bucket of money. That could be money that you need in anywhere from 4 to 10 years. So, what could happen in the next 4 to 10 years? Well, we've got, Social Security talking about how they're going to run out of money in the next 4 to 10 years. That money could be used in that bucket to, help protect if one of those income sources are lost. You could have a loss of income if there's a premature death of a surviving spouse, right? You could lose one of those Social Security sources. So that bucket of money could help in that situation. Just life in general could get more expensive. You could use that bucket of money ultimately to help give you a pay raise in the future. So in that bucket of money, that 4 to 10 year time frame, because of the fact that you don't really know what you're going to need, I would recommend things that are more moderate level risk. Things like building out a bond laddered portfolio. If you wanted and you liked where interest rates were, you could use a fixed or an index annuity to build out a ladder. If you were looking at replacement of income, there's vehicles that are designed to provide income that, anywhere from 1 to 10 years down the road in the future, you could turn on that income stream and exactly what that income would be. But until you need that, you just let that compound growth. Then for your long-term bucket of money, that's money, again, 10 plus years out. I really like stocks for growth and to fight off long-term inflation. Using the bucket type of an approach, I think what it's going to do is it's going to help you avoid being an emotional investor and reacting during short-term market volatility and ensuring that you don't sell in losses that just happen in a market because you need to cover expenses. Next, you want to create a withdrawal plan that you can stick with. Whether you follow the 4% rule, whether you use guardrails or a dynamic withdrawal strategy, having a structured plan in place for predictable withdrawals during retirement time will allow you to feel, not guilty, allow you to have less fear about spending in retirement time, knowing what your income plan is. And more importantly, when you have that plan in place, you want to have a bucket of money that's designed for an emergency account. So emergencies that could come up is, what if you got to bail the kids out? What if you have a healthcare crisis? That emergency bucket goes along with what your withdrawal plan is. Fourth, you want to plan for healthcare and long-term care expenses. Medical expenses could drain you in the later years. Plan ahead through, Medicare, supplemental, advantage coverage, looking at what your long-term care solutions are. Just really plan on that. At some point, something unexpected is going to happen. And so you want to have a plan in place. And the fifth thing that I want you to focus on is reducing unnecessary taxes. A proactive tax plan can save thousands over the course of retirement. We've talked a lot about this with our relationship with retirement tax partners here at America's Retirement Headquarters. An overwhelming majority of Americans who either do their taxes or those that work with an accountant or a CPA simply file their taxes and record the history of what happened. If you're not getting a what-if tax analysis done by the firm that you're currently working with, your accountant or CPA, I'd say fire your accountant, because you want to be looking at what are the solutions, what are the strategies that you can do to reduce unnecessary taxes. using things like Roth conversions, avoiding voluntary taxations. If you're over 70 and a half, understanding, what qualified charitable distributions can look like and how to keep that money off of your tax return, using tax efficient withdrawals, figuring out what strategy to draw from. So retirement confidence is going to come from clarity. You've saved decades, and now it's time to enjoy really the plan that you've built for sustainability and security. A customized retirement plan can really do that. It's going to make sure that you know where every dollar is going to come from. Make sure you know what happens if the market drops right away, how long your money's going to last, and how to protect yourself against some of those surprises. Here's what I want you to remember is that the fear of running out of money is real, but it's also preventable with the right strategies and the right plan. And you don't need to be wealthy to retire comfortable. You just need to be smart about how to structure your income to protect against some of the unexpected and the things that you have little to no control over. Every single strategy we've covered today is something that you can start implementing, right now, regardless of your age, regardless of, how much money you have saved up. The key is really, again, just taking action. Don't have paralysis. A lot of people I see have the fear and they get into this paralysis mode. Become educated about what your smart choices are, whether you're 45 or 65. Start thinking about building in that income floor. Organize your money into those different buckets of money we call the independent income system. Create a plan that you can actually follow. Your future self is going to thank you.
419-794-3030 is how you take that next step, start developing that plan, give you more confidence as you enter into retirement or you continue in retirement. 419-794-3030. You can always find them online at arhq.com. As always, want to thank you for joining us here on America's Retirement Headquarters. It is the home of the Retirement Guys Formula, America's Medicare Associates and Retirement Tax Partners. Have a great week ahead of you. Nolan, always appreciate the time. As we wrap up, I want to leave you with the final word.
Well, life is short, as summer is short. So it's flying by. If you're like me, I would say take this week, do something nice, get outside, enjoy our metro parks, maybe plan another trip or vacation before the summer is over with your family, friends, or loved ones. Go out, play a round of golf, jump on a friend's boat. Have a great week. Know that we'll be back next week with other great retirement advice on how to retire. And when you think retirement, think America's Retirement Headquarters. We're here for your entire retirement.
America's Retirement Headquarters is located at 1700 Woodlands Drive in Maumee, Ohio. You can reach them by calling 419-794-3030 or online at americasretirementheadquarters.com. Exposure to ideas and financial vehicles discussed should not be considered investment advice or recommendation to buy or sell any financial vehicle. Investments can fluctuate and when redeemed may be worth more or less than when originally invested. Nolan Baker is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency and does not provide legal or tax advice. Please consult with your attorney, accountant, and or tax advisor for advice concerning your particular circumstance. Annuity guarantees rely solely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance and annuity products offered through Nolan Baker, Ohio Insurance License Number 27787.